In the previous videos, we had discussed the Drude model, which is a classical model, and we had also discussed where it works to a reasonable extent and where it fails very badly. And we had also said that we need a more advanced theory. We need to introduce quantum mechanics, in particular of quantum statistics, to understand the dynamics of electrons in a metal, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I keep saying this, but it's worth saying it one more time. This course has got a lot of overlap with statistical physics. Some of the ideas that we talk about in this course will be dealt with in detail in the StatPhi course, and in particular, quantum statistics is one of the key aspects of that course. But I need some ideas from that course well before you will be reading about quantum statistics. Therefore, I am going to discuss quantum statistics without a need for any reference to that course, but I will only do those aspects that are necessary for our syllabus, the condensed matter 1 syllabus. So you will have to match what you read here to what you read in that course. The overlap with respect to my portion will be exact, but you will have to appreciate the similarity and understand what we are reading here in a much wider perspective in that course. So now one of the most fundamental ideas of quantum mechanics is indistinguishability. So suppose I have an electron in a hydrogen atom, and the hydrogen atom is governed by a simple Hamiltonian, which is just the kinetic energy and the potential energy. So the wave function is well known. The Schrodinger equation is exactly solvable. You can find out the wave function. The wave function is given by that form, where the r is the position and the position vector, and n, l, m are the 3 quantum numbers. Now suppose there are 2 electrons, 1 and 2. I will write the wave functions as psi NLM of R1 and psi NLM of R2 if 1 and 2, the 2 electrons 1 and 2 have the same quantum numbers n, l and m. So they have the same quantum numbers and they are having position vectors R1 and R2. How do I distinguish between these 2 electrons? In classical physics, we take distinguishability for granted. Suppose I give you 2 marbles and I ask you to keep track of their motion. You can happily do it. They can be identical marbles. In every aspect, those 2 marbles are the same. But you can simply watch them move, and you can still keep track of which is going where. Even their trajectories may overlap any number of times. You can still keep track of them happily. This is because in classical physics you have a nice concept of trajectory calculation. You have a method to calculate the trajectories using Newton's laws. In quantum mechanics, there is no concept of force. You only have a Hamiltonian from which you derive information from using a wave function and so on. You only have the idea of operators. So for the hydrogen atom, there are 3 operators. One is the total energy which comes from the Hamiltonian. The Hamiltonian is the operator that gives you the total energy. Then you have L squared, the square of the orbital angular momentum operator. That will give you the magnitude of that orbital angular momentum. Then you have one component of the orbital angular momentum, usually taken as Lz. So there are only 3 operators, H, L squared and Lz. Each of them will give you 3 quantum numbers n, l and m. That is all. Those 2 electrons will have the same. When I say that they have the same quantum numbers, this means that the operators are given the same eigenvalues for the identical eigenvalues for both of them. That means there is no way for me to distinguish between 1 and 2. Absolutely no way, because I cannot track trajectories, right? I can say mathematically I can assign a label as R1 for the position of one electron and R2 for the position of the second electron, but I cannot track the trajectories at all. In particular, if I have 2 scattering events like this, So one electron or any quantum particle traveling like this, another traveling like that, and one traveling like this, another traveling like this. I cannot distinguish between these two because you see, some particle is going from here, some particle is coming out of this, some particle is going inside here, and some particle is coming out here. Same thing is happening here also. If you look at the arrows, but I cannot distinguish between these two events in quantum mechanics. It's simply not possible. That is because I don't have any information to track. I don't have any information to track the trajectories. So this presents a very big problem when I calculate, n electron physics. Suppose I have two electrons, and let's stick to one dimensions now, and there are two electrons 1 and 2, or two particles, for example, just to keep it general, two particles 1 and 2, and they occupy the states A and state B. State A here means a set of relevant quantum numbers. State B is another set of the same quantum numbers. They may be having different values. It's a set of quantum numbers. So I can write a wave function of this form, psi A of x1 into psi B of x2. But the opposite is also possible. Particle 1 can be in B state, particle 2 can be in A state. So in the first case, particle 1 was in A state, particle 2 was in B state. The opposite, where 1 is in B state and 2 is in A state, is also possible. And when I actually do the experiment, I may be able to tell this was the state of the system or this was the state of the system. But a priori, before I do the experiment, there is absolutely no way for me to distinguish this and that. They are completely identical. Both of them represent the two particle system, So I must write the most general two particle wave function like this, and I must write some number C1 times this plus some number C2 times this. C1 and C2 can be real or imaginary depending on what it is. Of course, mod C1 squared plus mod C2 squared will be 1 and so on. All those things, normal ideas will apply. The problem here is, what is C1 and C2? They can be anything. They can be any quantum, any imaginary number. They can be any real number, whatever. They can be 0, 1, whatever. The possibilities are endless. So this becomes a problem. This is a stumbling block. How do I actually decide on the value of the two particle wave function, the form of the two particle wave function? Thankfully, nature helps us out in a big way here.